There are countless videos on YouTube talking about finance and investing books. A lot of these focus on money saving strategies or simply how to invest better. A lot of these books are actually classics, but today I want to talk about a recent book. In fact, this book came out just over a year ago. It's called The Broken Money. I want to recommend this book to you, and in this video I'm going to give you some insights into the book, but mostly I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you should absolutely read this book. Let's begin. I want to start with a personal note. A few years ago, I bought my first few $100s of Bitcoin. I never imagined that it would turn into this crazy rabbit hole of learning about money, politics, macroeconomics, power, freedom, and whatnot. I just wanted to make a few $100s. Instead, I ended up spending nearly 2 years, 1,000+ hours, relearning a bunch of things in a very messy and erratic manner. I think it can be fun going through that journey on your own. However, you can avoid all that pain by reading the book I'm going to talk about today. Introducing Broken Money: Why Our Financial System is Failing Us and How We Can Make It Better by Lyn Alden. You might already know Lyn Alden because she appears in a lot of podcasts and videos. However, let's look at a little bit about her. Lyn is a renowned financial strategist and investment researcher known for her insightful analysis of global macro trends and financial markets. With a background in engineering and finance, Lyn brings a unique perspective to complex economic issues. The book we are talking about today, Broken Money, was released in August 2023 and quickly became a bestseller, reaching #1 in multiple categories on Amazon and selling over 100,000 copies in the first few months. I believe you should read this book by her. Let me tell you a few important topics that are covered in this video. They are also the reasons why you should add it to your reading list. The #1, the most important reason you should be reading this book is because it helps you uncover the hidden flaws in our money system. She exposes the fundamental issues with our current fiat currency system, showing you why persistent inflation is silently eroding your wealth and the long-term consequences of our broken monetary policies. She warns in the book, the longer an inflationary monetary system persists, the more it tends to favor the wealthy and well-connected at the expense of the working class. Let me make it clear, this is not some anti-capitalism BS. She's just talking about the fact that this current monetary system makes the gap between have and have-nots more and more. It doesn't mean people are doing something wrong. It also doesn't mean that you cannot make it. It's simply pointing out the fact that there's a flawed monetary system. And as you might be thinking, yes, it's a very complex topic, and before you can grasp any of these flaws, you need to understand their origins. Lyn takes you on a fascinating journey through the history of money. She explores how we got from ancient ledgers to digital currencies. She also helps you discover pivotal moments like the 1971 Nixon shock that shaped our current system. This is something you should look up immediately if you haven't. Look up WTF happened in 1971 and you'll learn so much through that. This page will actually show you a lot of problems that started in 1971. You'll also learn what happens when you go off the gold standard, or in general, go off a hard money standard. However, in the book, she explores it further and also explains a lot more things. She also shows this with examples like the Roman Empire's currency debasement, drawing parallels to the modern monetary policies. So this is all great, but one of the most important things about Lyn Alden is that she's big on Bitcoin as well. In fact, that's how I ended up finding her in the first place. Now I understand there are a lot of Bitcoin skeptics out there even today, and I'm not telling you to start believing in Bitcoin. What I'm telling you is that you need to learn about it, and the way to learn about it could be from this book as well. And once you start reading this book and gain some historical context, you are ready to gain a fresh perspective on Bitcoin as well. Lyn's analytical lens presents Bitcoin not just as a cryptocurrency but as a potential solution to systematic issues. She argues that Bitcoin is the first asset in human history that combines the scarcity of a commodity with the transportability of information. Now, once you start looking at Bitcoin from this lens, you might start to gain a fresh perspective on why it exists and why it's so important in today's world. It's much more complex than that, and you need to understand so much more and need to learn so much more about it, but it gives you a good starting point to begin with. Well, generally speaking, the best starting point is to actually go ahead and read the Bitcoin white paper. But whatever you do, once you learn a little bit more about this, you might want to start thinking about a more forward-thinking investment strategy as well. There's also another important thing that Lyn talks about in this video, that is the brilliant concept of looking at money as a battery of human time and energy. This might be a very compelling analogy which will change how you think about your finances and help you make more informed decisions. She explains that money is a claim on human time. It is a battery that stores economic energy across time and space. Now, this is a concept I truly believe in. I always look at money from the lens of energy, my energy and the energy of everybody around me. Once you start thinking about money as energy, a lot of things start making more and more sense. For example, if you think about taxes as a little bit of your energy going to the government, you might start caring about policies more and more. You'll also start to understand why investing is so important. It's like conserving your energy and even growing it by lending it to other companies and assets. And even savings start making more sense because you're saving your current energy for future use. I understand that you might be thinking this is way too oversimplified. Let's not look at it that way. But trust me, this perspective has helped me so much. But anyway, moving on with the book and looking at the fifth reason. Once you have armed yourself with these foundational concepts, you're prepared to decode complex economic theories as well. In the book, Lyn talks about the dollar milkshake theory. This will open your eyes to how US monetary policies affect international markets and ultimately your personal finances as well. In fact, she uses the recent 2022 strength of the US dollar as a case study to illustrate this theory in action. Yes, here we go again, talking about complex stuff like macroeconomics, but the book actually makes it easier to understand some of this, and you might be actually enjoying it in the process. You might ask, why is it so important to understand these things? Because it's going to play a big role in how you manage your money and how you manage your investments as well. What currencies you hold, what kind of assets you're holding, in what currency are your assets denominated in, should you be holding Bitcoin? All these things will start to make more and more sense. And Lyn is not just talking about the past and present in this book, she'll also prepare you for the future of money. You'll get ahead of the curve on central bank digital currencies as well. You might have already heard so much about CBDCs. You'll understand the potential risks to your privacy and financial freedom in the digital age. She cautions that CBDCs have the potential to be the most authoritarian form of money in history. That's why we have so many pro-freedom people trying to fight CBDCs right now. Just think about it this way. What if your money could be programmed by the central banks? What could happen? If you keep a positive outlook, things aren't looking too bad. But just in case you end up with an authoritarian government, you don't know what's gonna happen. By talking about these things, she also emphasizes why enhancing your financial freedom is so crucial. This book will help you discover practical strategies to maintain your financial sovereignty in a changing world and understand the deep link between monetary systems and individual liberty. She again asserts that without financial freedom, other forms of freedom become rather hollow. I can in fact argue that you'll never be truly free unless you're financially free. You'll never have unlimited options unless you're financially free. You'll never have true freedom of speech unless you're financially free. You'll always be in the grasp of so many external forces unless you're financially free. And she does a great job of explaining this in the book as well. You might think this is an exaggeration, but if you have been paying attention to the world and what's been happening around the world right now, you know she's not wrong about this. And you know everything that I said right now is actually true. So please read more about this in this book. She does a great job of explaining these things. And all this knowledge actually comes together in helping you improve your investment strategy at the end of the day. It'll open your eyes again as to why investing is so important. You'll also learn why diversification is more critical than ever and gain insights to make more informed long-term investment decisions in our current economic climate. She actually also provides very concrete examples of how to structure a portfolio for resilience in different economic climates. You might want to look at that, look at your own goals and figure out what works best for you as well. It'll also help you learn a more flexible approach to investing. You never know when the traditional methods may stop working, so it's best to learn as much as you can. The last 2 points I'm going to make about this book are something that apply to a lot of other books as well. Starting with, reading Broken Money will help you develop critical thinking skills in finance. You learn to analyze financial news and economic policies more effectively, understanding the hidden agendas behind monetary decisions. One thing I really agree with her on is mainstream media. She encourages all of us to question mainstream narratives, providing tools to dissect financial headlines critically. Even I have made a full video about why it's important to question mainstream media and why it's more important than ever to question everything that's coming out of them. Feel free to check out that video. And finally, the last point is that the Broken Money helps you bridge the gap between theory and practice. You'll understand and see how academic monetary concepts apply to real-world financial planning, gain practical advice for your personal finance, and learn how to explain these complex ideas to others in simple terms. This book has a lot of real-world examples and scenarios, in fact a lot of recent ones as well, and they show how these theoretical concepts play out in practice in the real world. Once you start understanding all these concepts and how they play out in in the real world, a lot of other things will also start making sense to you. You'll start understanding politics better. You'll start understanding monetary policies better. In fact, you'll also start understanding Bitcoin better. It might also give you a fresh perspective on things like freedom and property rights. At least that's the impact this book has had on me. So there you have it, some of the most important things that you learn from this book and some of the most important reasons why you should be reading this book. I really believe that before you start reading all the books about investing out there, before you start reading books about trading and personal finance, you should start by reading this book. This is the foundation of what money is, where it started and where it's going, and why you need to pay attention to all of these things. Once this makes sense to you, when you go out and read the other books, you're going to pay so much more attention. You'll pay so much attention to investing and saving as well. So please go ahead and pick up a copy today. Try reading it. If you find an audiobook, give it a listen. If nothing else, try to find a summary of this book and read it. I might make a video about it as well in the future. Whatever you do, remember that learning about money is very, very important in today's world. You have to learn about investing, saving, and what you want to do with your money. You can either be part of the wealth creation crowd by reading books like this, or you could be part of the wealth destruction crowd. It's really up to you. On that note, I'll see you next week in a new video. Till then, keep learning and stay on top of your finances. Until next time, and go read this book.